Hey guys, welcome back to the land of books and movies. Tubi has quickly become my favorite streaming app. It has a lot of weird shit, a topic for another video. And it also has quite the library of obscure movies that go way back to the days of primetime national and cable TV, made for TV, true crime movies. Oftentimes they came in two parts, to maintain suspense. Many of them going back to the 80s and 90s, and normally I stay in my lane and don't touch true crime, the true crime genre. But this title grabbed onto my morbid curiosity and hung on tight. The Burning Bed. Its description guaranteed I'd give into my morbid curiosity. A battered wife sets the bed on fire with her abusive husband still asleep in it. Let's dissect that just for a minute. It goes beyond the usual news stories we see of battered wives shooting them dead in a split-second snap decision of self-defense. Starting a fire is a step-by-step process that requires just the right conditions. Starting a fire on a person requires all those steps and all those elements with the right amount of time on top. It also smacks of vengeance, not self-defense. So this guy had to be a special kind of sick asshole to push his wife to that extreme. So I watched this movie and I hated this guy. I saw in the opening credits that there is a book. I bought it, read it, and here we are. Now, there's something on the cover of this book that really annoys me. Beneath the title is the teaser that says she fought back with fire and got away with murder. No, she did not. Getting away with it means that she lied and gamed the legal system. No, she did not do any of that. She confessed right out of the gate. She went on trial, she testified, and she was acquitted due to temporary insanity. Also, since the movie was made for TV back in 1984, it's as watered down as American Psycho. I could not put the book down, and boy howdy, I hated this guy and his spineless dumb shit parents even more. And I'm about to show no mercy here. I would like to start with the biggest hit and the biggest miss from book to movie, both of which pertain to the talent. The miss is that the talent, who are supposed to be playing teenagers at the onset of the story, Francine and Mickey, played by Farah and Paul, are 37 and 39 at the time of production. The hit is this talent, who plays the willfully ignorant, toxic, and enabling mother-in-law, Flossie Hughes. She went above and beyond, making this character as repellent as possible. Now, for what we are all here for, the book to the movie. Both start at the middle with the crime. There's a fire, and Francine escapes it with her kids in the car and goes straight to the police to confess. She is processed as a prisoner and consults with the public defender, and she slowly opens up to him. Then the book and the movie start from the beginning. Francine and Mickey met when they were 16 and 18 at a party and hit it off. After a few months of making out in cars, which is where it kind of looks odd in the movie because this is where they can't convincingly play teenagers because they're 37 and 39. Anyway, what's only in the book at this time is that Mickey was working. He had a job at a nursing home before he and Francine got married. And then he quit that job when he moved her into his parents' home. The movie omits that job to make it clear that he's a deadbeat, which he was in real life. Both the book and the movie do very well to make Francine a highly sympathetic person, and the book goes above and beyond to make Mickey the repulsive person, the most repulsive person to ever draw breath, because the movie, being made for TV, has to water some things down and omit some completely. Moving on. The scene where Francine bought a cute new outfit to look nice for her new husband, only to have him rough her up and go off on her for looking too sexy, actually happened, but was watered down from book to movie. In the book, he tore that outfit from her body in full view of his parents and brothers, and she cowered back to their room in just her skivvies. And in the book, it doesn't end there. He took issue with outfits that fitted to her waistline, even if they covered her completely. He complained about bras that permitted even the slightest amount of bounce. And also, if she so much as glanced in the general direction of another individual with Y chromosomes, he would go off on her, smacking her around, accusing her of flirting and cheating and all that. And overall, when it comes to, outfits and stuff, this asshole would have put a burqa on her if they were available in Michigan in the 60s. All right, the movie, to maintain runtime, leaves out the complicated living situation and his sketchy employment situation. Because of the time this took place, electronic records were not invented yet, so someone could easily cover their tracks. Mickey job hopped between all the factories and lumber yards at a rate that would have gotten him blacklisted by most employers today. And because he was terrible with money and would spend his paychecks at the bar, he and Francine hopped more than the average, they apartment hopped, because they were always getting evicted and had to move more often than the average hermit crab. They would last just a couple months at each different dwelling before getting served eviction notices. And all this instability, with him beating on her whenever he was home, they would wind up back at his parents' house each and every time, where his conduct was excused every time, and she would be admonished to just be more supportive. It got worse as children started to enter the picture. The book draws out how, while he was at his favorite watering hole, drinking away the rent and passing his dick around like a basket of dinner rolls, she was at home with nothing to feed their first two kids. Literally nothing. And even one of the only ways she could do laundry one time was when a soap salesman left her a free sample. It was in the book and the movie that she left and ran back to her family a number of times. And it was only in the book that she went to the welfare office more than once to beg for some means to get her kids some food. But only the legal head of household could apply for assistance at the time, and Mickey would never go. He wouldn't deign to go to the welfare office, despite being unwilling to let Francine buy food or pay a rent check. So, the scene in the movie where Francine is at the welfare office with two black eyes and two starving kids also happened in the book, as is the social worker who paid the $7 for her divorce out of his own pocket. So now that she was legally free, she got the assistance she needed to keep an apartment and buy food. It's also in the book and the movie that she stood her ground, even with Mickey begging and promising to change, and never took him back legally. He even one time in the book, after there were a couple of kids in the picture, he had a job, and they had an apartment, he just chickened out on her. He said, I can't take care of a wife and kid, and he just noped out on her for a while, but eventually came crawling back. It's also in the book and the movie that after Mickey was in a car wreck that left him so injured that he had several broken bones, a ruptured diaphragm, had a heart attack and was comatose, Francine took pity on him and helped him with his recovery until it became obvious that he wouldn't help himself. And then he got well enough to start smacking her around again, and she left again. Then he came crawling back saying he quit drinking and was going to church and things would be different. And he moved into where she was living on government assistance and never worked again, just got disability, and eventually went back to his same old bullshit, going to the bar and screwing anything that moved, while she cared for all their kids, and their family eventually grew to 4 kids, though the movie kept it only to 3. Anyway, to maintain runtime, the movie cuts down on how absolutely crazy life was for Francine and the kids, thanks to Mickey. He was living with her and being a leech. He'd beat her up, and then she'd go running to his parents until they told her, "Stop coming here." With, of course, the sage advice of Flossie for Francine to start really being a wife by not provoking him. He once escalated so bad that he even hit his mother, which she later denied in court. And it was so crazy that even when his father, having banned her from running to them when he'd, explode, Mickey would also rampage destructively throughout the apartment, destroying furniture, destroying walls, doors, even smashing the toilet to shards with a sledgehammer. And it was all no never mind to him because public assistance paid for repairs. Francine got a job one time at a factory, and after, she was able to get it after some intense negotiations with control freak and barfly Mickey. And in the book, having a job felt like a breath of fresh air. But he bragged to his barfly friends how made in the shade he had it, with her paying for everything while he did what he wanted. And when he'd beat her and she'd call the police, they wouldn't arrest him unless they actually caught him in the act of being violent, or if he threw hands at one of the officers, which he did on more than one occasion. She'd run to her own family until that became impossible. He'd sabotage the car he bought in her name, so her job didn't last. She also couldn't get him out of her home without incriminating herself for welfare fraud. He'd smack around the younger children just because he felt like it. He was especially cruel to their oldest daughter because of her weight. How she was a little overweight, I don't know, because they were starving at the time. She had a little kitten, and he was also cruel to their animals. Mickey took Chrissy's kitten and broke its neck. During one of their do-overs, Francine got a puppy from one of her sisters. That dog grew up, became pregnant, but was forced to deliver her puppies out in the freezing Michigan cold because Mickey didn't want it in the house. So the dog and all her puppies froze to death. Mickey Hughes is the biggest piece of shit in the history of big pieces of shit. And we are getting close to the moment that makes the book and the movie. And there's one more thing that's more book than movie. Francine was taking those secretarial classes at the time, and since she was legally a free agent, she gave in to a romantic attraction she had to a guy she met at the community college they both went to. He was a police officer named George Walkup, and their relationship even made it to the back seat of his car, but she ended it after finding out he was still married. On the night of the titular incident, Mickey was drunk and raging again, and the kids hadn't eaten anything all day. She pleaded with him for use of the car to go buy some food. She would get TV dinners for herself and the kids and something else for him because he hated TV dinners. It was getting late. He finally gave in after she agreed to a precise shopping list. She came home and he started heating TV dinners and cooking something for him. The sight of the TV dinners set him off, and he started hitting and kicking her while she was cooking. He destroyed her school books and forced her to burn what was left of them. He demanded she quit school and have the car repossessed. And to this, she refused. He threw her around, threw food everywhere, overturned the garbage and rubbed her face and hair in it. And she would try to eat, but her lip was split and the salt on the chicken she was trying to eat It would make the open wound on her lip sting. He attacked her again, made another mess, and threw her in it, demanded she clean it up. Raged at the kids and attacked them. And after all that, he demanded some horizontal time. And not just a drunken quickie either. He made it extra degrading by insisting on drawing it out. It was after he finally passed out that she loaded up the kids in the car, and Chrissy said she never wanted to come back. And it was then that Francine snapped. She got the gas can that was for the lawnmower, got the cigarette lighter, and soaked the mattress and the surrounding floor in gasoline, lit it up, jumped in the car, and hightailed it straight to the police to turn herself in. The book and the movie come together as Francine goes to trial. In the book, the prosecutor found out about her brief romance with George Walkup, and who had since unalived, he self-unalived for unrelated reasons. And he was going to lean on that as a motive. It wasn't just that, but also when Flossie took the stand and outright lied, that was instrumental in tanking the prosecution's case. It was the testimony of this psychologist and Chrissy and Francine herself that got her acquitted for temporary insanity. Wife beating, child abusing, pet killing, job losing, bar flying, cheating, apartment destroying, dream killing, independence sabotaging, and family terrorizing is the resume of Mickey Hughes. I am only disappointed that he didn't feel a single flame. He died from smoke inhalation before the fire consumed him. The movie ends at Francine's acquittal. The book gives us some follow-up. I also looked some up myself. Francine did very well for herself. She did finish school while she was in jail during her trial, and after her acquittal, she built a nice slice of life for herself and for her kids. She established a career as a nurse and later a nursing teacher, and she married a man who treated her well. She lived to be 60 and departed in 2017. And that is all for The Burning Bed. It's an exhausting true story that you cannot look away from. It reinforces the statement that if you see something, say something. It makes all the difference between saving a life and being passively complicit. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next book and movie.